Welcome at GLH. We are here in our testing center where we demonstrate and show all of our machines for our customers, and today we are going to zoom in a certain specific model. The next model we are going to highlight is our H-5033TEC. It's our semi-automatic straight cutting machine. Very useful when you need a bandsaw, a sawing machine, but you're not cutting continuously whole day for all kinds of material. Doesn't matter if it's construction steel, full material, heavy duty material or not. The capacity of this machine is a little bit like the name already says. It's 500 millimeter in the width and 330 millimeter in the height, or what we call 330 millimeter round. The machine has a 5 kilowatt motor, blade motor. With all our machines it's a direct drive, so the driven wheel is directly driven by the gearbox and the motor. When we look at the build of the saw on the complete line of the H-TEC Series, which we call our semi-automatic machines, it's built, it's a two-column machine. It's built with one big size, oversized main column that supports the whole saw bow, and on the other side you see the support that guides the saw frame down, which we call our second column, and basically that's more to make sure that the saw bow is smoothly coming down. When we look at the general structure of the machine, it's you see it already. It's a completely machined machine, and we have some cast iron parts like the two guide arms here, which are cast iron, and also our vices are cast iron. But the rest of the machine is completely machined, milled in our workshop. Furthermore, very important to mention on this machine, when it comes to the mechanical structure, we have rollers in the bed, and that's very important to mention, because on semi-automatic machines when you have short big blocks to cut, you need those rollers in the bed basically to make sure that the material is supported up until the saw. The saw has a 34 millimeter blade, 420 millimeter. Our wheels are also cast iron, but we have a special procedure, so we paint our wheels first, then we mill off basically the wheels, and we adjust the wheels, the balancing of the wheels with these holes. This is basically how we do it with all our machines. When we balance the wheels, we drill some holes to make sure that the balance is right between those two wheels. When we zoom in on the guiding of the blade, then you see here this guide. We have rollers, bearings in the front and bearings in the back to make sure that the vibrations are caught. And when we zoom in on the other side, you see the same. So also on the outgoing side, you see bearings on both sides, on the front side and also on the back side. When we go in here, then you see that we use tungsten carbide inserts on both sides, settable, so you can clamp them by hand. We always say do it hand tight. For changing the blade, you just loosen them, and then you see that the guides are loose. When you fix them, you just fix them hand tight, and then it guides the blade perfectly to make a straight cut. On the top of the blade, you see also a tungsten carbide pressure block, basically to make sure that the pressure on the back of the blade is well guided. So this is basically the modern way of a bandsaw. On the other side, on the driven side of the wheel, you see the wire brush. It's electrically driven by an electrical motor, and it's settable. It's very easy to do. So this is a coolant hose basically that cleans the brush, but also where you can clean the machine with. And when you look inside with the wing nut, you can set the brush basically always at the perfect height the moment that the brush is deteriorating. Changing the blade, very simple. You lower the brush with the wing nut, you open the carbide inserts so that they are loose, you remove the guide when needed. You have operators that are very handy with bending the blade, This blade is 34 millimeter, so it's very easy to bend it, but when it's a higher blade, it's getting more difficult, and then we recommend to remove the guides. And then on this side, you see a hydraulic tension cylinder. This hydraulic tension cylinder, you detension the blade, and then you take the blade off. On our semi-automatic series, but also on our automatic series, so H-TEC Series and H-Pro Series, we have what we call a screw type chip conveyor or a spiral type chip conveyor, standard in the machine. It's hydraulically arranged, so when we move on this side, to arrange the speed of the chip conveyor, we have this button. This button makes sure that the moment that you turn it, you can make sure that the chip conveyor is working. It's a hydraulic chip conveyor. So what we recommend always is to have a speed that is, let's say, this is already too quick, but let's say that it's a little bit like a snail and slowly can form the chips and get the chips out of the machine. It needs to form, let's say, small tennis balls or ping pong balls, what we call ping pong balls. And basically with this button it's very easy to arrange the speed of the chip conveyor. Very important with all bandsaws, you have the two arms. They basically hold the blade. Very important is to get as close as possible to the material. So with this one it's manually arranged. So very easy to move. You take the handle, loosen it, loosen basically the vice insert, and then you can easily move this one to the back, to the front. Basically it's also limited, of course. We cannot go fully in because we want to avoid that this arm is going to collide with this vice. When the saw bow is down, we made sure that the moment that you open the vice that it's protected. So it's not completely fully opening immediately, it's going in short strokes to make sure that the operator, when he's distracted or not paying attention well, that they are sure that this arm is not breaking off. An option, which is not an option because it's standard on every semi-automatic cutting machine, it's the height limit switch. Basically what you see not often is that it's on the front side of the machine. So what you see very often in semi-automatic machines, straight cutters, is that it's on the back side of the machine, and then it's very difficult to reach because there are roller tracks in the area, and it's not convenient for the operator, but very clever on this semi-automatic saw that it's on the front side. So basically with this button you can make sure that when you need to cut out a piece or you don't want the saw to cut fully through the material, then you have this height limit switch that makes sure that it goes from the upside to the downside. When you have repetitive work also, you can set it lower. I want to do it again. Stop. I want to do it again. We're going to zoom in a little bit on the back of the saw. This is also where you easily can see where we have the main cylinder that guides the downfeed of the saw bow, and you have also the second column that supports basically the saw bow. We have here the tension cylinder construction, where we also have the pressure gauge where we can read the tension of the blade. Again, some blades need more tension than others, depends a little bit on the brand that you're used to use. The rollers in the bed, very important. When you have heavy materials, the material is supported almost up until the saw, so no flat bed. And when we zoom in on the gearbox, this is our main motor, 5 kilowatts, what I told you before, with direct drive, direct connection to the drive wheel. So on the side here you can see also the oil level, so also for service and maintenance, very easy to see. Is the oil dirty, not dirty, does it need to be replaced or not yet? I've taken away the covers. Important with every bandsaw is a central coolant system. Also this one has one, obviously. You see here the coolant pump. It's very accessible. I've taken away the covers already. So on the back side we have a cover, and on the top side we have a cover. It's very important because sometimes you need to take out of the coolant, you need to have a good size hole in order to have Yeah, you need to slowly go up. Yeah, you need to have a good size hole to clean it, because what I see a lot is that the holes are too small. You cannot reach it, you cannot go in with a vacuum cleaner, and with this saw it's very easy. You can replace the pump very easy, access here and access there, and also you can clean the tank very easy and fill it up also very easy. So good size holes for coolant tanks is very important. Talking about the hydraulics now. So the hydraulics are nicely covered by this cover. I've taken already away the 2 screws that make sure that the cover is fixed. These handles are bendable, so you can take them away to make sure that they don't get damaged during the operation. So when you take away the cover, basically you see the hydraulic system. Again, very easy to service. We basically have our 24 volts valves, completely owned by us, made for us only. Our hydraulic motor with the pump that is connected, and it's a closed circuit. You can fill it up, but once filled it doesn't get out anymore, so no clutter during transport or whatever. That's something that you see very often, certainly when it's about certain manufacturers. They are used to having an open system, but we have a closed system. The advantage of a closed system is pretty simple: no chips inside, no dirt inside. It stays clean for the whole travel. When you look at here, you can see that here you see the level of the hydraulic tank, and over here you see 2 pressure gauges, one gauge for the main pressure and one gauge because we have here, of course, the main cylinder of the vise, and it's a full stroke cylinder. And here you can see the pressure, and that pressure can be arranged with this button. So the moment that you're cutting thin material or material that you don't want to get scratched or damaged, you can arrange the pressure here. All our electrical cabinets have a main switch, so this is on, this is off. All our electrical cabinets are protected with a key. Give it to the owner or your technical department. Never open it again, only when there are failures or something that you need to check for maintenance or service. You open the electrical cabinet, and basically what do you see? Well, everything very nicely labeled, so you know what component is where. You can read it also on the electrical diagram. We supply it with the key that locks the cabinet. Basically, we have some extra fuses the moment that there's a fuse burning. The inverter is there. We all use European components or components from manufacturers that are well reachable all over the globe, that have a very good network when you need to replace things left or right. And basically, yeah, what is very special in this saw as a semi-automatic saw, and we are going to zoom in on that topic, is our AI system. This semi-automatic saw is very competitive when it comes to functionality, and that's something that we are going to explain later on when we zoom in on the control panel. Something very special with the semi-automatic saws, unique actually, we supply them with a touchscreen, and it's always a combination of touchscreen with buttons. It makes things very clear that the moment that the touchscreen is failing, you can still operate the machine with the buttons, but also when you have thick gloves on or dirty hands, yeah, I prefer still to have a button to push. And it's supplied with our AI system. When you look in the market, price quality wise, I don't think that there's a lot of suppliers that can compete price quality wise when it comes to semi-automatic cutting. Certainly not when it comes to this. So no traditional system anymore with dual hydraulics. No, it's an electro-hydraulic valve with our AI system that is inside. So yeah, basically a little bit of an explanation of the buttons. You see the power here with the power button. This is hydraulics on, light on and off. The service key, when you change the blade, you turn the service key and it shuts down the hydraulics. Open the vise, close the vise, lift the frame, down the frame, start cutting, stop cutting. All these functions you can also see in the HMI. And talking about the AI system that is inside, our SawMaster system that is inside, you can look in another video basically where we are going to explain the SawMaster more up close, because basically this is something that is very unique on a semi-automatic saw. What I forgot to mention is of course the emergency button on every saw, and also the very recognizable GLH feeding button for our electro-hydraulic valve.